The country of Turkmenistan, which is completely surrounded by land, has the lowest population density of any Central Asian nation. The year 1991 marked the beginning of the nation's existence, following the collapse of the Soviet Union. The Turkmen Soviet Socialist Republic, which was a component republic of the Soviet Union, included it as a part of its territory from 1925 until 1991. President Saparmurat Niyazov controlled Turkmenistan from 1991 until his death on December 20, 2006, which was caused by a heart attack. He had been in power since 1991. His successor, the current president of Turkmenistan, Gurbanguly Berdymukhamedov, has been in power as the dictator president of Turkmenistan ever since he took over. With the exception of the Hell's Gate, the nation boasts one of the most peculiar sets of regulations and living conditions for its citizens. Some of the strange things about Turkmenistan include the fact that young people are not allowed to grow beards, that there are no black cars, and that there is a fixation with breaking world records. The following is a list of 10 peculiar facts about Turkmenistan. Number 10. One of the least visited countries. Because of its difficult visa process, Turkmenistan is consistently ranked among the countries with the lowest number of tourists. During any given time period, you will not find a significant quantity of tourists in the country. The country was one of the least explored countries in Central Asia in 2012, with an average of 8,900 visitors per year. This makes it one of the least visited countries in the region. The fact that the country was cut off from the rest of the world for a considerable amount of time is undoubtedly one of the factors that contributes to the low number of tourists that visit the country. Number 9. 80% desert. Approximately 80% of Turkmenistan is comprised of desert, and the majority of Turkmen, who are the people who live in Turkmenistan, lead nomadic lifestyles. One of the most astounding things about the country is that 30 million years ago, it was the location of a massive ocean. As the Karakum Desert is located inside the borders of the country, deserts and sand make up a significant portion of the country's natural landscape. Nevertheless, the majority of its land is unfriendly to the existence of plant and animal life. Turkmenistan is the second biggest landlocked country in Central Asia, behind Kazakhstan. Ashgabat, the capital and largest city of Turkmenistan, is located on the country's southern border with Iran. Number 8. The Hell's Gate, a man-made disaster. The Darwaza crater, also known as the Hell's Gate, is not a natural occurrence, but rather the product of a natural gas drilling expedition that went catastrophically wrong. It is most commonly referred to as the Hell's Gate. In 1970, Soviet scientists were drilling for natural gas when their equipment fell into a sinkhole by accident. This resulted in the natural gas being released into the environment instead of being contained. The geologists made the decision to light it up in the expectation that it would go out after a few days because of the fire. That occurred more than half a century ago, and the blaze has not been extinguished to this day. Additionally, it has wiped off the local animals in the area. Number 7. Shut the Gates of Hell. Hell's Gate was rechristened the Shining of Karakum by President Gurbanguly Berdymukhamedov in 2018, but now, which is 4 years later, he wants it to be closed down. The newspaper Neutralny Turkmenistan, which is owned and operated by the state, reports that the president of Turkmenistan has given orders to his cabinet ministers to discover a means to shut the gates of hell on earth. Among the reasons that have been mentioned for this are the detrimental effects that fire has on the health of people who live in close proximity to it, as well as the huge harm that fire has brought to the environment. As reported by the newspaper, the Deputy Prime Minister of Turkmenistan has been requested to assemble a group of specialists and, if required, consultants from other countries in order to devise a strategy for putting out the fire. In 2010, President Berdymukhamedov had visited the location, and even at that time, he had requested that the location be shut down on both occasions. Number 6. Ashgabat in the Guinness Book of World Records. Ashgabat, the capital city of Turkmenistan, was recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records in 2013 for having the maximum number of buildings constructed out of white marble in the city where it is located. According to the records, the city is home to 543 buildings made of white marble that span an area of 4.5 million square meters. It is important to note that none of these buildings are inhabited by any people. Prior to this accomplishment, it was included in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the highest flagpole in the world, 133 meters, the largest fountain complex, the largest architectural picture, and the largest Ferris wheel in an enclosed architectural design. One thing to take into consideration is that Turkmenistan has a propensity for setting Guinness records, and the country frequently extends invitations to individuals who are responsible for keeping records to make a note of the most recent record that the country achieved. Moreover, it is important to note that Turkmenistan is the sole nation responsible for the conception and execution of the majority of these records. We mean this in a very literal sense. The Turkmen people are descended from the nomadic Oghuz tribe, which settled in the area in the 7th century in order to establish a new home. One of the characteristics of the nomadic tradition is the telpek, which is a huge hat made of sheepskin that is worn by men. The cap is constructed in such a way that it is able to keep the wearer's body temperature stable, regardless of whether in the sweltering heat of summer or the icy cold of winter in the desert. Number 5. Ruhnama, the Book of the Soul. Between the years 1991 and 2006, Saparmurat Niyazov served as the President of Turkmenistan. Ruhnama, which literally translates as the Book of Soul, was a book that the dictatorial monarch had written in 2001. He had also declared himself to be the President of Life. He mandated that the book be studied at all educational institutions, including universities, government offices, and schools. Even the newly hired employees would be tested on the book during their interviews for the current position. However, in addition to this, it was required to be displayed conspicuously at government offices and local bookstores. Every day, the residents of the area were instructed to recite the Ruhnama. Number 4. Ruhnama in mosques. Additionally, Niyazov was once quoted as saying that God himself spoke to him and told him that anyone who reads the book will be able to reach heaven without any further steps. According to Niyazov's orders, the book was to be stored in each and every mosque. In the event that the imam or cleric of the mosque did not comply with his directives, the mosque would be destroyed. The passages of the Ruhnama and the Quran were even engraved on the Turkmenbasi Rui Mosque, which is the largest mosque in Turkmenistan. He went to exceptional lengths to accomplish this. He received a great deal of criticism from the Muslim population, but no one had the courage to discuss it openly. Number 3. Ruhnama statue. The statue of Ruhnama was commissioned by President Niyazov and then put in Ashgabat, the capital city of the country. On a daily basis at 8 o'clock in the evening, the covers of the statue would open, and the audio section of the Ruhnama would be played for the inhabitants together with the film. Since the statue has not been removed by the current President Berdymukhamedov, it continues to stand in its current location. Number 2. Ruhnama in space. Even more impressively, the autocrat was successful in getting the book launched into orbit in August of 2005, so that the book could also conquer space. For the following 150 years, the book is intended to complete its orbit around the planet. Number 1. Ruhnama for a driving license. To obtain a driver's license in the majority of countries, one must demonstrate a reasonable level of driving knowledge. There was a little bit of grease applied to the palms of the people who issued licenses. No, Turkmenistan is not. For the purpose of obtaining a driver's license in this region, your proficiency with the steering wheel is not as important as your ability to memorize the Ruhnama words. It is the book that is being used to ask you questions. In the event that you are unable to provide an accurate response, I apologize. Share your views with us in the comments section below. Do like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more. Thanks for watching.